this was it was not the entire. We have some important things that definitely caught everybody's eye. Yeah, absolutely. It was an Atlanta area special grand jury investigating efforts that then President Donald Trump and his allies overturned the 2020 presidential election loss in Georgia, and it concluded that it believed some witnesses committed perjury and is at the time recommending prosecutors to seek charges. So it's an excerpt and then just 15 pages alleges that some of the 75 witnesses testified under oath and lied. Though it's really important here, it does not actually identify anyone. Now, we know the panel refers to some prominent Republicans, including U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani, and many others, like state workers, investigators, and other officials in Georgia. Now, the grand jury says it, quote, recommends that the district attorney choose appropriate indictments for such crimes where the evidence is compelling. And we've also heard from the Fulton County Superior Judge that says the total report that they see includes a roster of who should or should not be indicted and for what. And also another note on the side that is also unanimous agreement that the Georgia's 2020 presidential election did not have widespread fraud that was able to change the election outcome with the contrary to the Trump and many of his allies have done. Have we heard anything since this was released from the Fulton County DA and relative about what her plans would be? So at this time, it's not clear what the timeline would be moving forward. It's likely it would take some time before we see the indictment. If there will be indictments, just how quickly those charges could be filed. And most notably, especially all the cases that we cannot see, is the former President Trump will be charged as well. Now, remember, this was also coming in the backdrop of several other investigations into the former president. There's several counsel looking into certain investigations are handling classified documents. There's also getting a committee that argued that Trump had orchestrated a plan to stay in office despite his election loss. There's a lot surrounding this investigation. So, and Trump issuing a statement that literally came from a spokesperson that sounds very much like the former president himself. Yeah, so the former president did respond to, as you mentioned, spokesman. That was defending the former president, saying that not only was his name not mentioned, but Senator Mooney's were mentioned in the partial report release, but that he believes that it shows the investigation that has nothing to do with the president because he, quote, did absolutely nothing. And I must also add that ABC has shut down Senator Graham's about civil pardons as well, because he had not been contacted with testimony, and we want to say he was confident that he testified openly and honestly. All right, Em, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. And we're there again. We're reporting for us live from Washington, D.C. To see what goes on. I know we don't know a timeline, but as we get closer to more and more people deciding that they want to run for president, this is the thing that's going to be hanging around Donald Trump's neck. Vice President Kamala Harris talked today about the Chinese spy balloon, and tell you her comments, and the flight of a hobbyist group out of northern Illinois, and how this has affected them. More hobbying. I was going to say, do you belong to any sort of eclectic adult hobby group? No, and this is it's weird to me because I love the idea of model rockets when I was a kid, and had an opportunity to see a couple of them, but never really got into it. I love the idea, but I couldn't commit to actually buying any and doing it. Because every time, like the president, this is the weirdest offshoot of that, from model rockets to balloon tracking. You know, I feel like model rockets come with more testosterone than balloons. Yeah. You know, their new channel will continue. Qualifying inventory live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, Jennifer Stephanie. And we've got the latest now on that traffic snarl that's affecting your drive if you're going through the Newhall Pass. Let's go to DKFI in the side and Jeff Boss. Well put, Jennifer. I guess the call of the day is fun to get through the Newhall Pass. Now, it's really an extraordinary situation that occurred early this morning. And what it was, really what it's called is two separate fatal-sized investigations that resulted from one. One was actually a big red hitting a pedestrian, and someone trying to cross the freeway, was the initial report. So, and is really jammed up two very, very important drives. First, the South 14, South 5 first. The South 5 coming out of Santa Clarita, the South 14 coming down from Acton. It is just a parking lot up there. We go up there and take a look, and it hasn't improved at all. The first closure is at the South 5 to South 5. That's what's shut down. Now, the two right lanes of the South 5 will let you go to the South 170. You can do that. The South 5 to South 5 is shut down. And the other one is up in the New Hall Pass. It was eastbound 210 or Hubbard. That's where the incident took place. But they moved the closure back to the transition. South 5 to the East 210. So that's what it's all about. Even the one I see now, east and west, trying to get to the South 5, we'll keep looking up there. There's a parking lot. It's always a busy spot, but truly a parking lot. One thing that will help you a little bit now, if you live locally, anywhere out the Plymouth, the Hubbard on-ramp is rather strange on-ramp, but it actually starts a little bit south of Osborne, but it actually will let you get on the South 5, and it's one of the better alternatives. And one of the tricks, I know Gary mentioned this earlier, we left the bus earlier this morning for the studio, but right now the top 405 is mellowed out quite a bit. It's a little rugged, only for 118, but it's a pretty good drive, believe it or not, all the way down to the 101. So a lot more coming up with this favorite of AFI traffic reports to follow. Severe delays, Jeff Law, AFI in the sky. A man's been arrested for shootings outside two synagogues in LA's Chico Robertson neighborhood. The two people shot their shooter are expected to be okay. This woman in the area says it's scary. There's no way they could do this incident, and in a very serious neighborhood. Both men would be on leaving synagogue, possibly with a coupon on their head. I mean, usually the not having this pretty clear. The U.S. Federation of Greater LA says the man arrested has a history of animus towards the Jewish community. LA's homeless campaign has gone into effect in several areas on the west side. They're called sleeping and storing property within 500 feet of several parks, recreation centers, and other facilities. Also in Tracy Park, Bedford District has the beds to house people affected by the rules. I am well aware of our legal obligation to lead with offers of services and housing. Council members voted Wednesday to approve the areas for the camping ban. Certain areas must be approved by the full city council for enforcement. Like trolling, hey, if I need it. A senior ISIS leader has been killed and 4 service members from the U.S. have been hurt during a helicopter raid in Syria. Officials say an explosion during the raid wounded the 4 people. The U.S. Central Command says the service members and a working dog are receiving treatment in a U.S. medical facility in Iraq. Officials say the members are U.S. Special Operations Forces. And Democratic Senator John Fetterman has set himself due to the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center to be treated for clinical depression. His chief of staff says, while John has experienced depression off and on throughout his life, it only became severe in recent weeks. ABC's Andrea Francisci says Fetterman's office says the senator continues to struggle with the after effects of the stroke he had in May. And high-altitude geopolitics has landed in Southern California. And politicians and headline writers watching the skies for surveillance balloons from foreign countries. The political ripples are here on the ground. China is imposing fines and sanctions on Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. China says both companies are now on a list of unreliable entities for selling weapons to Taiwan. Being on this list from China is not expected to disrupt operations, but Lockheed Martin has more than 8 dozen locations in Southern California. Raytheon has a big presence in El Segundo and Fulton. Jason Middleton, we're going to look at this guy that you can't find in the sky in just a moment. He's tired of living with pain. He's got a chronic pain, usually in his joints, knee pain, shoulder pain, maybe pain in your hips or your back. You don't have to go through another year in pain. Next generation pain management has arrived here in Southern California. It is QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader when it comes to cutting-edge regenerative medicine. I mean, it's regenerative medicine is amazing. It's an all-natural process uses highly concentrated healing properties from your own body, put them directly into your achy joints to restore and repair the damaged tissue. Now we're talking about lasting pain relief. No drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. So athletes have been doing this for years. Now you can too. Now they have 100 clinics in North America. QC Kinetics does. Now they are here in Southern California with these regenerative solutions that can get you moving again, and most importantly, pain-free. If you're sick of living with pain from arthritis or injury, call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 3 locations to choose from: Glendale, New San Diego, and the city of Orange. Give them a call, 213-9 997 PAIN. TC Genetics 213-997-PAIN. That's 213-997 PAIN. SoCal weather from KFI. Mostly sunny today, a little warmer. Highs will be in the mid-60s, maybe right at 70. And then we'll stay right around 70 for the rest of the weekend with more clouds coming in the first part of next week. And by about Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, we'll have a chance of rain. Right now, it is 53 in Huntington Beach and 52 in Brea. From the Southern California Toyota Dealer Traffic Center, let's go places and take a drive. Actually right now, getting through the New Hall Pass, getting through the San Fernando Valley, and getting off the 118 to the South Pass. Three separate closures. Now, these are all due to earlier crashes that resulted in fatalities, and they're miles apart. The first one I put climb up. Here's the one we're spinning around right now. South 5 and South 5, it is shut down. The two right lanes up the South 5 will let you transition to the South 170, but not to the South 5. For local traffic, again, the Brantford on to the South 5 will let you get it done. Even turning you off on the Hubbard, that will work for you to the South 5, but a long time delay. Now, in Stillbar, the closure was East South 210 and Hubbard. The people get back to the transition coming out of the New Hall Pass. South 5 to the East 210, that elevated transition completely shut down. The New Hall Pass is just stop and stop and stop. I wouldn't be surprised if people just said, nope, not going on today for one home. It's really that bad. Even that Sierra Highway, Old Road, Fort Hill, Balboa, all that, it's been jammed and jammed for hours. So long time delays. I keep mentioning Laurel Canyon. It kind of looks like the South 5 itself. It is so busy coming down from the 118 down towards 5. So long time delays. A little bit over to the east now. Glen Oaks is really not all that bad. Coming through the parts of the climber by the dam area and going out to Burbank. So it's just a long time delays here. Be careful. Jeff AM High in the Sky. Philly Pictures Classics is proud to present the 15th return of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, starring Michelle Yeoh. Now in stunning 4K restoration. Magical, romantic, empowering, a masterpiece. See the jaw-dropping storefront, the incredible action above the treetops, and the astonishing gravity-defying stunts. All on the 15th for a limited time. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Directed by Ang Lee in the PG-13. Now playing. Hey, sir, did you know that gold is the lowest currency that held its value since the dawn of money? Well, actually I did. Thanks to the folks at Legacy Precious Metals, the most trusted name in gold investing. Investing in gold protects you from inflation and gives you a hedge against stock market volatility. Right now the economy, man, chaotic. Inflation, recession. That's why it's more important than ever to have a diversified portfolio. That's true. For those starting out or worried about retirement, it's not something you can navigate alone. No, it's not. That's why Legacy Precious Metals offers honest, patient advice based on your personal financial situation. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Protect your finances, your family, your future. Call Legacy Precious Metals today at 866-691-2173. That's 866-691-2173. Or download your free investor's guide now at buylegacygold.com. That's buylegacygold.com. We're putting the media back in social media. Follow us now everywhere at KFI AM 640. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Coming up in the next hour, actually about an hour from now, we'll be talking about all the people complaining about the LAPD for shooting people, criminals. Apparently there is a growing choir of people saying, just let them go. Which is a logical extension in their brain to police are the bad guys. Police are the ones that cause these accidents. Police are the ones that have put people in such position that they have to break the law. The accidents wouldn't happen if the criminals weren't fleeing. And if you stop chasing them, what is that going to say to would-be criminals? you'll get away with it. All you got to do is to go 15 to 20 miles over the speed limit and they'll drop the pursuit. Exactly. Vice President Kamala Harris is in Germany today. She is there to, among other things, to start the Munich Security Conference for the weekend. Similar to what we saw just about a year ago before Russia invaded Ukraine. This is when Vladimir Zelensky appealed to all Western nations and said, please do whatever we can to avoid what we think is inevitable, this intrusion of Russia into Ukraine. Obviously, we know that that happened. We are now a year later. We're getting closer to the anniversary. In fact, a week from today is the anniversary of the invasion. The expectation from a lot of people is that we're going to see Russia step up their attacks and their offensive. That's important. That is the major part of the discussion, what's going on. But one of the things that he and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin are doing on the sidelines there in Munich is they're talking about the propensity for major countries to spy on each other using gigantic balloons. He commented on the balloon, specifically the one that we shot down off the coast of South Carolina, that everybody's pretty certain was a Chinese spy balloon. We will maintain the perspective that we have in terms of what safety the relationship between China and a normal person. That is not going to change, but slowly and certainly that balloon was not helpful, which is why we shot it down. The balloon was not helpful, which is why we shot it down. Now, the entire interview that she does with Andrea Mitchell on MSNBC is worth watching because this meeting, this Munich Security Conference, is a very, very important meeting. And that gobbledygook bologna sandwich that came out of her face just now is exactly the kind of language that she's going to bring into major international security conference. The fun part of Balloon Gate, this new chapter, involves the Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade. Oh, I love it. The Northern Illinois Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade, they noticed that their hobby balloon, their $12 hobby balloon, went missing at the same time fighter jets were scrambled to down a mysterious object. Was their $12 inflatable taken out by a $400,000 Sidewinder missile fired from a $143 million F-22? That would be wildly embarrassing. For who? For the administration. Well, after letting China's balloon sail across the country, you're going to take out a science project from a hobbyist group in Northern Illinois? That is that's a bit. It's an SNL bit. The Northern Illinois Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade does not currently have any merch available on their website, which is nibbb.org. What a missed opportunity. By the way, they need to get somebody in there quickly. Yeah. It's got a logo. It can be very rudimentary, these t-shirts, but you got to get them printed. You know where they got the name from, by the way? The Bottle Cap Balloon Battalion was started in June of 2021, named after the movie Up. The Ellie bag and the Bottle Cap Merit bag, they were started as young as 11 years old. There's a handful of people. There's a picture on the website of Gordy and Kelsey and Noah and Doug and Bob and Jim and Sue and Don and Quinn. We got to get one of them on the program. So I'm sure they're all inundated at this point. What I think is most amazing is they talk about these balloons that they launch. They're not humongous, right? I mean, they refer to it as a Pico balloon, P-I-C-O, Pico balloon. And it is a part of amateur radio is kind of where this generates from. They're licensed by the FCC. Each one of them has their ham radio handle, I guess, next to their name. Allows us to communicate to other men throughout the world. Pico, they send a small transmitter with a GPS tracking device and antenna on a balloon filled with hydrogen. Goes up somewhere around 50,000 feet for the most part, travels with the speed of the jet stream, and as they travel, as the balloons travel, the GPS is able to locate their current place and other information, depending on what kind of ship you have in there. It could be weather information, it could be stuff like that. And then the hams receive the signal recorded on a computer anywhere through the internet, just tracking balloons. What's amazing is they said that this balloon specifically specifically that they were tracking. Some of them only last for several hours. If they're successful, they may go around the Earth once or twice. They said that this one had gone around 7.5 times before they lost contact with it last Friday.
Ted Cruz wrote on Twitter, to be fair, Biden is providing a powerful deterrent for any high school science clubs that may try to invade America.
That's my joke.
Well, Ted Cruz listens to the program. All right, coming up next, a mom described as a woman who lived and breathed for her children. The nurse you would want caring for your wife or sister or daughter is in trouble for murder.
Yeah, maybe Don Lemon thinks she passed the crime. Maybe that's what the problem was.
Barry and Shannon will continue. KFI AM supported live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And Jennifer Stephanie.
5 police officers in Memphis are pleading not guilty to second-degree murder and other charges in the arrest and death of Tyree Nichols. Federal prosecutors have asked the judge to set the singer R. Kelly to 25 years in prison after he was found guilty of 3 child pornography charges in Chicago last year. The Super Nintendo World is now open at Universal Studios Hollywood. The Mushroom Kingdom, made famous in Super Mario video games, is now being brought to life. You can look at your drive with you can fly in the sky in just a moment.
Everyone has that playing in my head right now, right? If you're hurt in an accident, besides your car damage, the injury from that accident can have a ripple effect on your life.
You have very little control over what's going on. But Putin's accident attorneys know all too well what your injury is going to put you through.
Your injury can keep you from everyday activities like work, not to mention having to live with the pain.
And that's why the attorneys of Putin have devoted their lives to helping injured clients. They're going to help you get the medical treatment you need so that you can heal.
They're going to help you get the money you deserve so you can financially recover.
And they're going to treat you with compassion the whole way through. Blue Jays has one mission, to help hurt accident victims get better physically, financially, and emotionally.
That's all they've been doing for 18 years. They've recovered over $1 billion for clients and have been awarded best attorneys in America.
Listen, you pay nothing until they win. So if you're hurt in an accident, call Blue Jays. 800-500-5200. 800-500-5200. Or go to BlueJays.com.
SoCal weather from KFI is mostly sunny today with highs from the mid-60s to right at 70s. This report is brought to you by your Staples stores. Let's get a look at your drive with KFI in the sky.
Well, we've got the ongoing problems on the 5 freeway southbound side in the Alita stretch, right at the 170 split. It's the fatal crash investigation. 2 people passed away here. The lane shut down, all lanes shut down, the 5 southbound right at the split. You'll be diverted onto the 170 southbound. In addition to the fatal crash on the eastbound side of the 210 in Stillmore, just before Hubbard, where the crash happened, and they're always now shut down on the eastbound side of the 210 between the 5 and Hubbard. That means overall delays on the 5 southbound all the way back into Tennessee. They're starting around Lyons Avenue, 14 freeway southbound heading from Golden Valley, heading towards the 5. KFI in the sky helps you get faster. I'm Robert Rabbi.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt for your guaranteed biggest refund and 50% off tax prep. Look at Jackson Hewitt. 50% off is a limited time offer for new clients signing with participating locations. Max value $200. Visit JacksonHewitt.com/50%.
The Ford President's Day Telethon is happening now at your Ford dealer. People in the 2022 Explorer. It's America's all-time best-selling SUV with 0% APR plus 1,000 traded kickback. But hurry in. The Ford President's Day Telethon ends Monday. Not all buyers will qualify for Ford credit. 0% APR financing for 36 months and $27.78 per month for 1,000 financing. Simple 0% down. For $1,000 Ford credit kickback must trade a 1995 or newer vehicle to qualify. Offer expires 2/2023. Dealer for details. Right now, during Staples Fit-A-thon, select chairs are up to 50% off. Like the Union and Scale Essentials Nest-Back Cap Chair, now just $89.99 at Staples. In-store only, offering 2 while supplies last. Staples, the working and learning and thinking store.
Want a strong, lean body, but cheap fad diets and cardio workouts? If your goal is to build strength, lose fat, or increase energy without being injured, the perfect workout is for you. The perfect workout method is just 20 minutes, twice a week, with a private personal trainer. Get a safe, effective, and time-efficient workout at any of our 18 locations in the San Diego, OC, and LA areas. Results guaranteed. Call 800-882-2169 for a free, no hard sales intro session. That's 800-882-2169 for the perfect workout.
Live to 2 locations. do you do? What is it? All the radio stations you love, every playlist and active news, the podcasts that everyone's talking about, if it's on the iHeartRadio app, it's free. Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. The guy said, what do you do for a living? I said, I do a radio show on AFI. And he said, all the money's in podcasting now. I said, well, the radio show we do is being podcasted. He said, well, do you make the money on that? I said, no, I work for iHeartRadio. They keep the money from the podcast. He said, oh, buddy, you're getting ripped off. But Tim Conway, do your show. And I said, okay, can you please check the windshield fluid drive 4 to 7 p.m. on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. At least 4 U.S. service members were reportedly wounded in a helicopter raid that killed an ISIS leader in Syria today. ABC News reporting the soldiers and a working dog are receiving treatment at a U.S. medical facility in Iraq. It's not clear how serious their injuries are. They're part of a special ops force. Massive traffic issues on the north end of the San Fernando Valley today. We found I-20, 210, past Hubbard, all in closed because of a collision there. Kind of involving pedestrian, and then the bigger one, the more traveled areas, right where the 5 and the 170 split, right there, sort of panorama city area in Sun Valley kind of thing. Southbound I-5, after 170, HOV, and 4 left lanes have been blocked because of this multi-vehicle fatal collision. You keep an eye on it, but it's going to be a mess, especially anywhere coming down the 405, headed out towards the 118. All of it is just is a nightmare right now. The chairman of CNN has had the wrong reaction to Don Lemon's boneheaded comments about Nikki Haley not in her prime. He told staff that Don Lemon's words were upsetting, unacceptable, and unfair to his co-host, that there are huge distractions to the good work CNN is doing. Okay, unfair to his co-host? How about just unfair, period, full stop? But you're talking about a presidential candidate, not a pinup model. He also, Don Lemon, also in his apology, never mentioned Nikki Haley. I mean, if that was what generated his concern in the first place, and then claiming that he's not in her prime. By the way, he's not on TV today. Now, I don't know if it's a direct correlation to his day off or what, but 5 Memphis police officers, former, I should say, pleaded not guilty today. The second-degree murder and other charges in violent arrest of Tyree Nichols. The officers made their first court appearances with their lawyers before a judge in Shelby County criminal court today. They were fired, of course, after the internal investigation into the January 7th arrest of Tyree Nichols, who died in the hospital 2 days later. It's always a head-scratcher when a mother murders her children, but this one is even more perplexing because of her behavior before and during. It seems like this was not a snack, but this was a premeditated, multiple murder of her children. Her name is Lindsay Clancy, and she is charged with the murder of her 5-year-old daughter, 3-year-old son, and 8-month-old son. Prosecutors say she strangled them at their home there in Duxbury, Massachusetts, and tried to kill herself. She paralyzed from the waist down as a result of her suicide attempt. Now, letters written by more than a dozen friends and colleagues say that this woman lived and breathed for her children. She was a labor and delivery nurse. They call her a serene presence at the hospital. Colleagues referred to her as a nurse you'd want caring for your wife, sister, or daughter as they welcome that child into the world. Again, sometimes you think there's just some sort of break, right? Maybe lack of sleep and mental illness and just a cacophony of issues that all result in a mother killing her kids. But they say that she meticulously planned her kids' death, sent her husband on errands she knew would give her enough time to strangle them. That she used the Apple Maps app to time a trip to a restaurant in a neighboring town where she sent him to pick up takeout. Her defense attorney is claiming that this is all blamed on mental illness. In court, in fact, he said Valium, Prozac, Klonopin, Zoloft. He's prescribing all of these. Where's the drug charges? Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's unbelievable. Now, granted, he could be doctor shopping and getting different prescriptions from different doctors, but that's an unbelievable amount of psychotropic drugs to be on, regardless of whatever condition you think you're in. Well, and hospitals are very careful with the way they treat these kinds of medications. It's not as simple as her working at the hospital and going pilfering them. It's very controlled these days in terms of the input-output of medicines of this caliber. This reminded me of a story that has come out of Washington State that unfortunately is a similar connection to what we've seen here in Los Angeles County. And that is a 3-year-old child involved with Child Protective Services who dies at the hands of his meth-addicted mother, 3-year-old. Cuts, bruises, and burn marks throughout his body. The face was discolored, bruised, and had obvious burn marks. This woman apparently also is the mother of a 1-year-old baby who was found next to the 3-year-old's body when they discovered him on Sunday. The 1-year-old was taken to Mary Bridge Children's Hospital in the Tacoma area. Medical staff found meth in the 1-year-old system. Just a couple days ago, the mom, 25-year-old mom, also meth addicted, charged with murder in the first and second degree onset of $2 million. They said that there could be more charges in the coming days. All of this from a third-hand report, by the way, of a child who was unresponsive and cold to the touch at an apartment there in Tacoma. So, awful story. And again, we're going to see this like we saw with Gabriel Fernandez here in LA and other unfortunate cases that somebody in Child Protective Services who didn't do their job for whatever reason. Or several people. Or many. Yeah. And the Gabriel Fernandez story is terrible because, I mean, it's obviously terrible on its face, but it seems like it was just sheer laziness on behalf of the social workers. Yeah. They didn't want to make the trip out. Yeah, I know a kid out there has reportedly several times been battered and beaten up and malnourished, but I don't want to make this drive out there when cancer so far. It's not fun, Justin. All right, Steve Gregory is coming on next. He will tell us all about what's coming up to this weekend on Unsolved with Steve Gregory. Nothing gets past us. We are on it. KSI. KOST 82. Los Angeles, Orange County. Live everywhere on the Radio app. Traffic troubles. I'm Genesis Jones. We're live from the KFI 24-hour news. We've had 2 fatal accidents that have caused traffic trouble in the Newhall Pass. Let's get the latest from KFI's Robert Sabaki. Well, it's been really a mess out there. First off, we have the 210 eastbound. Just before Harvard, where the crash actually happened. One person that died in this crash, and that's not too bad. That actually there is closed on the side of the 2 points. All lanes shut down from the 5 all the way to Hubbard, and then she crashed on the southbound side of the 5 at the 170. 2 people killed in that crash. All lanes shut down on the southbound 5 right at the split, and access to 170 southbound. But overall, delays on the southbound side of the 5 all the way back into Santa Clarita. Southbound 14 really jammed up across the Golden Valley, heading towards the 5 freeway. KFI in the side up to the disaster with Bucky. A man suspected of shooting 2 Jewish men in the Pico Robertson area of LA has been arrested. Both men were shot after leaving synagogue. One man was shot Wednesday, the other was shot yesterday. This Jewish man who lives in the area says he's not surprised by the shooting. The Jewish people are used to being suppressed by anti-Semitic remarks and violence. The man allegedly behind the scenes was traced to Riverside County where he was arrested. Police recovered a handgun and a rifle. The Jewish Federation of Greater LA says it's been informed the man has a history of hostility towards the Jewish community. In the Pico Robertson area of LA, Blake Trolley, KFI News. Prosecutors in Orange County say soft on crime state laws have granted compassionate release to a motorcycle gang leader who executed 3 people in Westminster 40 years ago. He's never apologized. He's never been remorseful. Orange County DA Todd Fisher says Hudson Motorcycle Club co-founder Thomas Maniscalco was convicted of shooting a rival and his bodyguard, plus raping and killing a woman whose father was a police officer in Orange County. He said prosecutors were given less than 10 days to argue claims the guy has terminal cancer. He could retaliate against witnesses who testified against him. He had no compassion for his victims. He deserves no compassion. Victor says Maniscalco was denied parole twice because he was deemed a danger to society. In Orange County, Corbin Carson, KFI News. A team of search and rescue volunteers from the LA County Sheriff's Department has returned from the scene of the deadly earthquake in Turkey. Team leader Mike Williams says the group used their own vacation time and raised money for hotel and rental cars. A round-trip flight on Turkish Airlines was arranged by a buddy who worked for UPS. As soon as they arrived last weekend, they hit the ground running. Williams recorded the experience. Easy working, and this all kind of noise. Then you would up here, this would start, going for quiet, and then, like for blocks, people would stop exactly where they were, stop in their tracks, just to be as quiet as possible, so that whoever the one person who's yelling can hear if there's no response. Williams says on day one, they rescued a mom and her 18-year-old son. They did get their assignments from the Turkish version of FEMA. Can I ask you what the response was like from the locals there? Well, not just the residents, but like people that have their families buried in the rubble would come up and they couldn't do enough for it. They seems like all day long somebody was like bringing food by. He said they would drive each day 2.5 hours to and from the command post. In 7 days, the team rescued 3 people and helped with dozens more. Steve Gregory, KFI News. All 5 former officers who did a blackmail in Memphis during a traffic stop pleaded not guilty to his murder. Tyree Nichols died in January, 3 days after his violent arrest, which was caught on video. It's funny because I feel very numb right now. I feel very numb. Nichols' mom, Rogan Wells, said she's waiting for someone to wake her up out of this nightmare. The former officers, who are all out on bond, also pleaded not guilty to aggravated kidnapping, official misconduct, and official oppression. And Bruce Willis has been diagnosed with dementia. His family announced almost a year ago that Willis had been diagnosed with aphasia, which affects the ability to understand or express speech. They now say the condition has progressed. A neurologist at Temple Health in Philadelphia says frontotemporal dementia, or FTD, is rare. It represents overall only about 10% of dementia cases. Dr. Leah Kroll says patients may develop compulsive or impulsive behaviors. They may be inappropriate at times, or they may be apathetic. There's no cure for FTD, but Dr. Kroll says symptoms can be managed with medication and speech therapy. The KFI Financial Report is brought to you by SaddlebackEye.com. The Dow is down 76, S&P is down 39, NASDAQ dropping 170, and the average price for the gallon of unleaded gas in California is $4.72. For a limited time, get up to $1,800 off LASIK from SaddlebackEye.com. Your SoCal weather from KFI. It's mostly sunny today, little warmer. Highs will be in the mid-60s to right at 70, right around 70 for the rest of the weekend. Then more clouds come in at the first part of next week, a little bit cooler with a chance of showers. Right now it is 52 in Garden Grove, 53 in Orange, 55 in Arcadia, and 54 in Pacific Palisades. Let's get a look at the rest of your commute. This time we'll start on the 91. The 91 West Bend to the 605 North, partially blocked by South Bend. Until around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's back in York on the main line of 91, starting back at Arcadia Boulevard in Linwood, southbound side of the 710 past Imperial Highway and Palatine Way. There, the middle lane, that's set you back up all the way to Florence Avenue, and single lane still on the southbound side of the 605 out of Whittier, starting on Whittier Boulevard, heading towards the 5 freeway. KFI, the guy helps get you there faster. I'm Robert Bucky. Looking for your next investment opportunity? How about 100% active ownership in commercial real estate? First National Realty Partners is backed by $1.5 billion in commercial real estate assets from Walmart, Whole Foods, Kroger, Publix, and more. Grocery store-anchored commercial real estate offers day one cash flow from high-credit national tenants, tax advantages with 1031 exchanges, inflation-fighting triple net lease, and more. Get information on current and upcoming opportunities today. Call 888-301-9010 or go to FNRPradio.com. Become an investor in owned and managed commercial real estate with national grocery store brand tenants producing quarterly cash flow. Call 888-301-9010 or go to FNRPradio.com. Securities are only available to verified accredited investors. Investments are subject to risk, including loss of principal. Cash distributions are not guaranteed. Any representations made about investment stability reflect FNRP's strategy and may or may not be realized. Visit FNRPradio.com. Hello, this is Joe. Joe Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is a firm that practices family law exclusively. We focus on only one area of the law to maximize their strength and effectiveness as advocates for clients that have everything on the line: their home, retirement, savings, and most importantly, their children. We're the partner our clients count on. If we can be of help to you, give us a call. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell, California area attorneys. 1455 Crazy Road, 3500 San Diego, California, 92108. Are you a business owner, CEO, or responsible for marketing? If you are, iHeartMedia can help you reach your goals and find new customers. We reach more consumers in your target area than anywhere else, and we can give you access to those potential customers more cost effectively across radio, digital, podcasting, and social. We'd love to figure out iHeartMedia can work for you. Get started today. iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com. I know that you can give me call because I'm Bobby. Call because I'm more stimulating talk. And I like radio station. Sorry for following for you this morning. Ohio's governor says the air and water in East Palestine, where a train derailment earlier this month resulted in the release of hazardous chemicals, is safe. That air and water quality testing shows no detection of contaminants related to the derailment. EPA is taking samples from hundreds of homes to find this out, but that has not stopped the river of lawsuits from hitting that city, that state, the railroad, really anybody involved. This is not on the desk at CNN this morning. John Lemon put a foot in his mouth with these comments about Nikki Haley yesterday that she wasn't in her prime. And if you Google it, you'll see that women are in their prime in their 20s and 30s. Co-host Poppy Harlow to walk off the set. Caitlin Collins is the only one actually on the set today. They have somebody else going in. I think it's Audie Cornish that is sitting next to her. In fact, Poppy Harlow is now in Salt Lake City to cover the NBA All-Star Weekend Festival. She is. The FBI is investigating a malicious cyber threat that targeted part of its computer network. CNN reports the cyber incident involved an FBI computer system used in investigations of child sexual exploitation. The Bureau said it was an isolated incident. It has since been contained. The investigation is ongoing. Quick Michael Irvin update. Oh, yeah, get it. A judge has ordered that the hotel where Michael Irvin is accused of alleged misconduct with a female employee must release video footage that it has of the incident. Irvin has said that there was no sexual wrongdoing, that he only shook hands with this woman during an interaction in the lobby of the Phoenix Marriott. But remember, whatever happened prompted his removal from the NFL Network's Super Bowl coverage last week, and it went crazy public. On yesterday, the judge ruled the hotel must send the video footage to Irvin's lawyers by February 20th, by Monday. The judge also ordered that the hotel provide the name of the accuser, as well as anyone else who may have filed a complaint against the Hall of Fame receiver. Also states that the hotel has to share the names of the NFL employees who received the complaints and then eventually effectuated Mr. Irvin with his removal from the hotel. Oh, this is what they're suing everybody. Yeah. All right, Steve Gregory joins us, host of Unsolved, with Steve Gregory. Good morning. And to you, sir. That story's funny. That means hotel price. And business together. Yeah. It's the time. Well, it's something that he may have said. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, and I'd be curious. That wouldn't have been recorded. I mean, the audio. No, you wouldn't pick up the audio. But what saying, what sentence, what communique would result in you, a high-profile member of the broadcast team, getting kicked off the entire week's broadcast leading up to the Super Bowl. This is like a combine. He may have misgendered her or used the wrong pronoun at some point. Yeah. He could have done that. He could have also said some really nasty stuff. Right, but does that make you lose your job? I don't know. Maybe you just wanted to know what time the lounge opened. I don't think that was it. It was open. Yeah. There are plenty of people who saw him. What's going on this week? Oh, we've got a very fascinating case tomorrow night from Pomona Police Department. Detective Danny Kono used to work at Pomona PD for 30 years. He's seen that as a homicide. You say that name sounds very familiar. Yeah, he's been around a long time, and he approached this with the case of a 15-year-old girl who was found back in August, in the summer of 2005, stuffed into the trunk of a BMW. And what's odd about it is the car was just within a block or so of the Pomona Police parked in front of a fire hydrant for days. About 4 days before they even realized that the body was intact. So it's unusual that a car was sitting that long. Then, I guess an officer was attempting to give a citation to the vehicle for being parked in front of the fire hydrant. But then that officer got called to another breaking event or some other emergency. And so that car went unattended. And then, out of nowhere, a listener, really bugging me. So there was a member of the public that had smelled this very strong odor. And that odor was getting so bad that that person called police and said there's really a bad odor coming from that car. And that's what pumped it. And then they were looking around first, surveying it, and then they noticed there was actually liquid dripping out from the trunk. Oh, no. And then when they were able to get the trunk open, they had to get a locksmith in to do that. Then they see the body of the 16-year-old girl who was sadly because that they stayed in that trunk, laying in that trunk for 5 days, 4 or 5 days, and that hot August sun. Where was her family? Yeah, here's the thing. So the young girl was a Jane Doe for about a week. That she was so badly decomposed. And the problem, the challenge they have is that as a 15-year-old girl, she doesn't still fit any database. She wouldn't have registered actually. No, she didn't have a license, she didn't have anything like that. So it's in the summer, she's not going to school. They wouldn't recognize that she didn't show up at school. Yeah, so then you've got all kinds of challenges out of this too. So the detective walks us through all the sort of the ins and outs of how they were able to determine who she was. And also a very interesting thing that had to do with the car that they had never done before with the body inside of it to help preserve it. So that's where we stick around. We're going to do a little bit more as well. Steve Gregory is going to give us a preview of this weekend's episode of Unsolved. With Steve Gregory. We'll return just a moment. Jennifer Stephanie. And taking a look at some of the stories, we're watching 5 former Memphis police officers charged in the death of Tyree Nichols have pleaded not guilty. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine says the water in East Palestine is drinkable and the air is breathable after a train derailment caused a toxic chemical spill. And the Royal Canadian Mounted Police say it has suspended the search for debris from the flying objects after U.S. military shot it down over Lake Huron on Sunday. We'll get a look at your drive in just a moment. Let's talk about an upsetting issue. You are paying your homeowner's insurance premium like clockwork, right? Every month you write that check because you know that in the event that you need them, they'll be there for you. Then it happens. Broken pipe, toilet overflows, the walls are damaged, the floor, something. You're going to open a claim with the insurance company. It's got the experience and the industry know-how you need on your side. We also rated 5 stars on Yelp, Google, Better Business Bureau. No one messes around with Abner Gap and his team. Give Abner a call, 818-917-5256. 818-917-5256, or visit AbnerGap.com. That's ABNERGAP, AbnerGap.com, or call him directly, 818-917-5256. So our weather from KFI is mostly sunny today with highs in the mid-60s to right at 70. This report is brought to you by Sleep Number. Let's get a look at your drive with KFI in the sky, going back to the 5. Going on the southbound side of the 5 at the 170, heading out of our Alita. All lanes remain sunny. people killed in this incident here and being diverted on to the 170 southbound. In addition to the incident on the 210 freeway east in Fillmore, eastbound side and just before Hubbard, the fact that one person photo was actually made on the freeway, all the way shut down all the way back to the 5 freeway, and that's Abbey Street Drive on both the 5 and the 14. Southbound side of the 5, you end up all the way back almost to the right there, southbound side of the 14 is taking from Golden Valley heading towards the merge with the 5. The 405 freeway southbound is seeing some added delays as well. Safety out of the Devonshire Express, starting line Devon dropping on all the way to Culver Pass. KFI, the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Thomas Bucky.
This report is sponsored by Blindsure.com. Do you need new blinds or shades? Blindsure.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters with free shipping and prices less than big box retailers. And right now, save 50% off any order during Blindshure's President's Day sale. Hurry, stand February 23rd at Blindsure.com.
It's the fourth President's Day Silicon. Get great deals this weekend on many in-stock vehicles with more arriving daily. We're also kicking off Ford Truck Month. Get 49% APR for 60 months plus $1,004 APR cash on the 2022 F-150 XLT. But hurry in, the Ford President's Day Silicon ends soon. Not all buyers will qualify for Ford Credit 0.9% APR financing for 60 months at $1,705 per month for $1,000 finance. Example 0% down. Offer expires 4/3/23. See deal for details.
Discover life-changing sleep. It's the ultimate Sleep Number event. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bag for a limited time only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com. At Ralph, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in store. Same low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. One small trip for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Ralph.com. Ralph, fresh for everyone. Just the kind of price you'd like to be there.
Right now, you can score 4 for 5. Mix and match participating items and get 4 saves for $5 with your card. Check it out and save today. This is Nick Alexander from Nick Alexander Reports, LA's #1 BMW dealer in sales and service customer satisfaction. Have you been waiting for the electric car market to mature? Waiting until a fully electric car can match the range, power, and acceleration of your current performance luxury car? Or maybe your current bland Tesla's build quality and technology is not living up to your idea of what a real luxury car should be. Come down to the wholesale district and meet BMW's full range of fully electric, the iX SUV, the flagship i7 7 Series, and the sporty i4. For example, before month end, meet the brand new 2023 BMW i4 eDrive 35 RWD for only $499 per month, plus tax, $24.45 down, 36 months, 10,000 miles per year on approved credit through BMW FX. That's only $499 per month. Call 800-800-NICK for details or shop our entire inventory online at alexanderbmw.com. We're centrally located in all of Southern California in the wholesale district. That's 800-800-NICK. And remember, Nick can't say no on the Exorcist Files podcast. But we do exorcists and demonologists share stories of disturbing and freakish cases of possession. For the last 2 decades, Father Carlos Martinez has encountered evil in nearly every way imaginable. What Hollywood portrayed in The Exorcist with levitation, vomiting, spitting at the priest, all of that has not been a movie for me. I have seen that firsthand. Listen to The Exorcist Files on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. Why do we pay these people so much? Well, for a couple reasons. We know all the big words. For example, quid pro quo. We use the word stop instead of stop. So we use Latin. There's a lot of that. Also, because we've gone to law school, and that's 3 years, and the bar is really hard to pass. And I think the bottom line is we do it because we can. Hello on the law, tomorrow morning at 8 on KFI, and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. If you're eager and need a lawyer, go to handleonthelaw.com. You really got me going. You got me going. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, you really got me on. You got me going. And you got me. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. So if you're following For You, a nonprofit business group expects the U.S. will tip into a recession in 2023. Oh joy. Conference board chief economists cite high inflation, rising interest rates, and falling consumer spending as key factors. or leading economic index for the U.S. fell 0.3% in January, adding to December's decline.
Tiger Woods back in his home, by the way.
I love it.
The two-time major champ brought his A game and backpot to the Riviera yesterday. Riviera Country Club, the Genesis Open. He opened the event at 269. That's fine, right? That's great. On the 19th, he's teeing off with Justin Thomas, and he outdrives him. He outdrives JT, and then reaches over and surreptitiously hands Justin Thomas a champ.
I did that to see Gregory once. When he was complaining.
They were laughing. They were laughing their butts off as they're making their way down that nice green. You can't start laughing. You can't. No, we got to get through there. Never.
But do you remember?
Yes,
when I told you and brought it?
I remember. Did you also outdrive him on the 9th?
I mean,
you know, we got to play golf. We got to play golf.
You play golf?
I think that's the question. Sorry.
Dude, how did I not know this?
Yeah, you love it. You don't know.
I don't need to know everything. Well, like, what else is in that storage unit?
He's still in his 28.3. He just had 8.3%. I will tell you that I met with a lieutenant from the LAPD the other day. He made a point to stop and say, I love it when you're on serious camera. I love when they start laughing and you can't stop. And I said, you're like just a laugh track, right? He goes, it is? You guys not doing all that live? And I said,
sometimes we are.
It starts like that. And then Jacob starts doing his stupid stuff. And then Gary starts piling on. It's just now, but yeah, I keep thinking there's somebody else in there. It sounds like more than 3 units. It's like 7 people. Crozier's in there. Crozier Conway in there. Yeah. Alex Gomez, right? But Alex, he made a point where he said, oh, everyone here in the office, they just love it. Right there, because the LAPD has this trailer right near Terminal 7. Yeah. It's like the crappiest looking little trailer, like a classroom trailer. And that's where the LAPD substation is. And so I just had the meeting there the other day, and I'm in there with the lieutenant, and he introduced me to everyone in the room, and they're all sitting around in there, and they were talking, and they can't find him.
So I was in Pasadena yesterday. I wandered into a little knick-knack shop. You know, a little Easter decorations, or wreaths made of eggs and bunnies, and just beautiful potpourri, and they're blasting John and Ken. And I'm like, what? I take a picture of the store, I send it to John, I go, they're blasting your show right now in this knick-knack shop. And I talked to the woman there, I go, so is this you listening to John and Ken? She goes, oh, no, not me. And I was like, oh, okay, I was like, I worked with them for years. She's like, oh, okay. I am. I love this show. I love all of their vibes. Yeah, she's like, I just sometimes I don't want to admit it.
Steve Gregory is wonderful. We'll get back to our preview of Unsolved. With Steve Gregory just a moment, we have $1,000 to give away. You're supposed to win $1,000. Enter the nationwide keywords on our website. Bills. That's Bills, BILLS. Enter it now at AFIAM640.com/cash. Powered by Sweet Games Accident Attorney. It never an accident. Winning is everything. Call the winning attorney at Sweet Games. 800-500-5200. That's 800-500-5200 or sweetgames.com. Use that website, enter that keyword, AFIAM640.com/cash, and then keep an eye on email. That's how they notify the winners.
So, Steve, you're telling us about the murder of this young girl whose body wasn't found for 5 days, and the obstacles left you. The obstacles in terms of identifying exactly who she was.
Yeah. So, a 15-year-old Danielle Ulloa of Santa Ana, and she was found in the back of in the trunk of the BMW 2005, just down the street from the Motor Police Department. And the story that we do, the entire show tomorrow is dedicated to this case because there's a lot to unpack here. We spoke with Detective Jenny Tono. He has since been retired from the department, but he came back to the case because this is one of those that really sticks with him. We were also fortunate enough to speak with the young girl's brother. He joined us for the interview as well. And he talked about, he was the same age that he was also around 15 when they got the visit from Detective Tono all these years ago. And he talked about the day that he found out and the events leading up to it. And he and his sister had just gotten into an argument and some stuff he's done. And he's been living with this regret, but he's never able to, sort of close the gap on that. And he talks a lot about, his sister and what's next to him and the struggle they've been dealing with, and his
personal and mental health struggles over the years, growing up with that, and just the graphic nature of her crime and brutality of it. So we talk, and usually we don't typically talk with the families because sometimes it's not necessary. But in this particular case, we really wanted to illustrate sort of this particular heinous crime and the suffering the family committed. Yeah, explain that. Why do you think? Why is it that it's not? I mean, I can guess about why it's not necessary to talk to the families in these cases. I mean, they're not necessarily the ones who would provide the information that would be a break in the story. Because we're trying to. Because I think it's understood. The thing that's been this long, sometimes we have to give the audience credit for knowing that a family's suffering and going through tragedy. We don't do these TV questions. How do you feel? Those are TV reporter questions. How do you feel? We understand a family's going through some. We don't want to be salacious. We don't want to bring them in and try to get some sort of a cheap thrill out of putting someone who's crying on a microphone. The whole idea here is to get specifics out about the case. So in rare circumstances, we'll talk to the family if they have something to add, and if there's an interesting twist in the case, because in the interview with the brother, he was revealing things to us next to the detective, the original investigating detective, that he didn't know. And that's sometimes very interesting. And that's like the third or fourth time that's happened where the family reveals things with us that they never talked to detectives before. 7 o'clock Saturday. Yep. 7 o'clock tomorrow night. On demand always. Of course, you can go to KFIAM640.com/unsolved, or you can find it all on the iHeartRadio app as well. Thank you, guys.
Barry and Shannon will continue. We'll be talking about all the uproar about the LAPD pursuit. Maybe we should just let everybody go. That is cut down on the risk of people getting in the way of pursuits and losing their lives.
We could just get out of the police cars and offer hugs.
Big big. Let's blow big big.
Barry and Shannon will continue. Deborah Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Police have taken a man into custody in connection with two shootings in a predominantly Jewish area of LA. Both shootings happened within 24 hours in Chico Robertson's Westview area. One was Wednesday morning, the other was yesterday morning. Both shootings involved Orthodox men leaving a synagogue. Both did survive the shootings and are expected to be okay. The LAPD and the Jewish Federation are investigating. The news is brought to you by Weekend Accident Attorneys. Kings, queens, and knights have started jousting with medieval times in Buena Park, claiming even peasants make more money.
We want more money. We want to address these concerns, and we would appreciate it if the company stopped visiting that we don't get. Knight Dick Bowman says medieval times gave performers who didn't recently unionize 25% raises will offer a union employee 1% raises. It's a lot to ask people to sit amplify as well as an animal, or break a leg, or break an arm, falling off of them, or break a hand from, a sports strike or something like that for only $18 an hour. Because Disneyland performers make double that. These two strike continues tonight. Medieval Times says no comment. In Buena Park, Ben Carson, KFID.
The governor of Ohio says municipal water in the area where a train was derailed is safe to drink. Ohio Republican Governor Mike DeWine says so far 500 homes have been air tested for any toxins related to the derailed train's controlled release of vinyl chloride earlier this month.
In summary, in 500 homes where the air has been tested, no contamination of concern caused by rail derailment is present in any of these homes.
He says more than 24 homes are scheduled to be screened today. He says there are 20 monitors in the community that will continue to test outdoor air for any toxic chemicals as well. The 5 former officers charged with second-degree murder in the death of a black man in Memphis are pleaded not guilty. Tyrese Nichols died 3 days after a violent beating during an arrest for a traffic stop.
This is a glorious day. This is the beginning of the process.
Nichols' stepfather, Rodney Wells, says he had to be in court today to make sure justice gets done for his son. All 5 former officers also pleaded not guilty to aggravated kidnapping and aggravated assault for the beating in January. And Johnson's house may benefit from the state paying off school loans.
A new bill in California may help fill a veterinarian shortage across the state. The program could pay up to $150,000 in school loans for those who agree to work at an animal shelter or in an underserved community for at least 5 years. Assemblymember Kai Norris of Irvine says there's a critical shortage of vets due to the high cost of attending veterinary school. Teacher Norris points out that shelters really need care so that more of them can help find their furry friends their forever homes. Jennifer Jones with KFI News.
Southland weather from KFI, partly cloudy, highs mid-60s to around 70 for Metro LA to San Gabriel and San Fernando Valley, 50s in the Antelope Valley, upper 60s to around 70 for inland Orange County, lows to upper 60s in the Inland Empire. Right now 59 in Seal Beach, and it is also 59 in Ladera Ranch. We're going through a crash on the C10 in Stillmar.
The fatal crash investigation that happened around 6 o'clock this morning, just before Hubbard on the east outside of the 210. A pedestrian was hit and killed on the freeway, and all lanes have been shut down between the 5 and Hubbard. Since then, they actually just relaxed for the minute or two, reopened the lanes there. So all lanes are open on the eastbound side of the 210. Unfortunately, with the ongoing investigation on the 5 freeway, southbound at the 170, 2 people killed in this crash. A couple of cars and a big rig involved here. All lanes shut down and diverted onto the 170. Southbound overall delays on the 5 stop all the way back into Valencia. Southbound side of the 4th Street heavy is roughly fluctuating in heading towards the 5 freeway. And we have a crash in West LA on the 10 West transition to the 405 stop. This road's blocked there. Back at starting around Crenshaw. KFI the side helps get you there faster. If your business has 5 or more employees and manage to survive COVID, you could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. That's your money. Not alone either, a refund of your taxes. The trick is getting your food. Complicated, lots of red tape. So let me suggest going to getrefunds.com. Their team of tax attorneys are experts in this little known payroll tax refund program, and they've already returned $1 billion to businesses, and it can probably help you too. No charge up front and share a percentage of the cash that they get for you. And businesses of all types can qualify, including those that get PPP money and nonprofits. Even if you have increases in sales, you can qualify. To find out if your business does qualify, go to getrefunds.com, click on the Qualify Me button, answer a few questions, they start to work. Getrefunds.com, that's getrefunds.com.
At Easton, pay relief. Book your next flight to the East Coast from San Bernardino International Airport and land in the heart of New England in Hartford, Connecticut. It's the low-cost and local way to travel. Learn more at flyxcd.com/Hartford. That's flyxcd.com/Hartford.
At Peanut Butter, we know a good burger starts with the best pizza. Try our fresh signature gourmet burger patties today. They're handmade daily from 100% native beef for amazing flavors. Plus, you can mix like jalapeno, bacon cheddar, and more. Peanut Butter's Market. Fresh, affordable, community first. Running out of hot water? Visit waterheatersonly.com. Quick service, friendly technicians, low prices. KFI AM 640.
An iHeart radio station.
Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Pretty woman, walking down the street. Pretty woman, I found out like you to me. Pretty woman, I don't believe you know the truth. No one could know a bad girl than you. Pretty woman, won't you pardon me? Pretty woman, I couldn't help but be. Pretty woman, when you look like me, I can be. Are you only one just like me? Pretty woman, stop a while. Here you can recording live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. A couple stories that we're keeping our eyes on today include the story out of Memphis, Tennessee. 5 of the officers accused in the Tyree Nichols murder ended up in court this morning. They all pleaded not guilty, which was not a surprise. The air and water in East Palestine, Ohio, where a train derailment earlier this month resulted in the release of a bunch of hazardous chemicals, is safe, according to Governor Mike Warren. So the air and water quality testing for the detection of contaminants related to the derailment. The EPA, that is, has taken samples from hundreds of homes throughout the community. They will continue to do so. They said that the municipal water wells have come back clean, but they're not saying the same about the private wells coming from a health agency. And I think it's a little bit of a larger for hangover. Totally. From that, unfortunately, and that's not good, because if I feel that way, then a lot of people feel that way. We've been watching also the traffic issues in the northern San Fernando Valley. We've seen plenty of places where it's just about impassable because of an accident. One at where the I-5 and the 70, I-5 and the 170 split up in the Sun Valley area. And then farther north of that, along the 210, there was an accident this morning as well. So there's still going to be an issue in that northern San Fernando Valley for probably the next couple of hours. Coming up next, we'll tell you about a school district member in Claremont that had some really bad decision-making issues. And also, who is Buddy the Elf? I'm not talking about Will Ferrell. We'll get into the holiday party gone wrong next. But first, there is new outcry for the LAPD to stop pursuing suspects. 19-year-old Cal State Northridge student was killed when two guys picking up from police in an SUV ran a red light, crashed into this guy's vehicle early yesterday morning. Case began about 12:30 at night near White Oak and Rothschild. He tried to stop the player at around 4, and two men who were wanted for armed robbery in another part of the valley earlier that day. Three people hospitalized when a pursuit started that ended in a crash in South LA. LAPD said they tried to pull the driver over, but he drove away at a high rate of speed. It was a very brief chase. They said it lasted only minutes. The police himself had to engage and send Seaford Street. Yesterday, an LA police sergeant was charged with the count of misdemeanor reckless driving causing injury after a crash last spring that occurred down in the pursuit as well. A 14-year LAPD veteran, Sergeant Ruby Aguirre, is accused of running a red light at the intersection of Jefferson and Western Avenue, striking a sedan. Cal State Northridge student, and his name, by the way, was Eric Barbosa Guardado. 19 years in Rashida. She says, I get so mad because it's not right that happened with my nephew. Please do something. He's a really good boy. I think the police need to be careful with people around. And of course, it's a tragic nightmare that never ends for that family. It doesn't mean, though, that the LAPD should stop pursuing violent criminals. If you stop pursuing violent criminals, and they do, they will call off some pursuits that they deem to be too dangerous, right? Then that sends a message to the entire criminal community. Well, I'm going to get away with it. I'm going to, like you said, drive 15 miles over the speed limit, and I'm going to get away with it. It's policy now that they stop pursuing me. This has been an issue for the last several years. The Department of Justice has gotten involved in terms of investigations when it comes to the restrictive policy for high-speed police pursuits. We've seen this play out in other jurisdictions. In fact, we found the Washington State Code 10.116.060 vehicular pursuits. This is the law in Washington State. Number one, a peace officer may not engage in a vehicular pursuit. For the state, wow, unless, and then it goes through a series of things you have to do. You have to put reasonable suspicion that they're driving under the influence, which I don't understand why that would be okay, because that person's more absolute control than somebody who's not hopped up on something. The pursuit is necessary for the purpose of identifying or apprehending the person. It's weird. If the first thing you say is you may not engage in a vehicular pursuit, you're setting yourself up for trouble. Because who else is going to do this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different conditions by which a law enforcement officer can engage in a vehicular pursuit in Washington State. You think they're going to know all 9 in the moment when they're trying to catch an armed robber or something like that? LA police pursuit policy says the pursuit could be initiated only when a law violator clearly exhibits an intention to avoid arrest by using a vehicle to flee. Now, they're not going to take down somebody who was shoplifting. They're going to use their judgment. In this case, it was armed robbers that had already put up a fight in the valley earlier that day, and they're still hanging around the valley. What's to believe they're not going to engage in more armed robberies? Usually we'll see that the suspects, when the pursuit hit the TV, that they are, armed carjackers. Hey, people you don't want to be free. People you would like tracked down. Yeah, but then what? Are we going to pull them out and hug them? That's the aspect of it that is, well, it's one of the factors that goes into the discussion in the first place. Is do we allow people to get away with that? Do we just allow people to get away with that? That's what some people are saying, that that's better than the potential for harm to an innocent person who's caught up in the case. So we allow them to be a danger to, sorry, we don't allow them. They have made themselves a danger to society in some way. There's 100% chance that they pose a risk to the community because they've already robbed someone at gunpoint. They've already established that. So there's a 100% chance that they're going to continue to be a danger. And the way to get out of it is to be even more of a danger. Is that way? That's the logic that people are using? And what are the chances that somebody is injured or killed in the pursuit? Much less percentage than that 100% chance that this person has already been a danger. The amount of bureaucracy that goes into this type of issue, I think is frustrating. I would imagine if you work in law enforcement, the fact that there is a 40-page vehicle pursuit guideline that was put out by the Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training for the state of California, a 40, now listen, I know you're going to read through it, you're going to take away some of the key things. A lot of times pursuits have to be approved in many cases, depending on where they are and the conditions. And obviously, the higher ranking officers can call off a pursuit for whatever reason they deem important enough to do so. But this is one of those frustrating things where the basic logic of law enforcement of a generally safe and secure society requires that we have men and women who are willing to protect us and do their job. This is why Tyree Nichols was beaten to death. Who wants to be an officer anymore that should be behind that badge? Very few people. And you'll hear it from the law enforcement community. Nobody wants that job, so they're lowering standards, and people are getting into police forces who are not the best because we're making that job so unappealing, whether it's public sentiment or all the rules or the law coming down on the side of the criminal versus the guy behind the badge or the woman behind the badge. You're making it be a job where it's going to be rife with corruption because no one who actually deserves or should be an officer wants to be an officer. It's like the politician. Everyone who should be a politician doesn't want to deal with that crap. So we're getting this garbage, this dumpster fire that we see. Struck with these morally hollow egomaniacs. Good Lord. It's like talk radio. No? That's slightly different. All right. But a lot of you no. You're in a post. Totally. I always knew you had daddy issues. You never came to my party. My dad never came to my cheerleading competition. You go to my baseball game. Yeah. And you go to my football game. So you never went to my play. That's why you do adult theater? That's why we're still dealing with it? I mean, you're very gifted, you're talented, and we're happy to support you in all your theater endeavors. Just 35 years later, I still feel that. Are you done? Will you move on? You want to tampon? Nope. I'm good. Very interesting, and we'll continue. KFI 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Deborah Mark, how's the news? Hey! In the LAPD caption, he says management ignored her request for the entire department to be told that a widely distributed photo of the topless woman was not her, is seeking more than $1 million in attorney's fees. The woman's attorney said earlier this week her case was taken on a contingency fee agreement because she would not have been able to pay her attorneys on an hourly basis. LA City Council is meeting to talk about buying a parcel in Bel Air to preserve open space and areas for recreational activities. Russia, China, and South Africa are starting naval drills off the coast of the Indian Ocean in a demonstration of the three countries' close ties. The 10 days of exercises will coincide with the first anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Southland weather from KFI partly cloudy and high 50s to around 70. This report brought to you by Discover. We're going fast to the 5 in Sun Valley. Yeah, southbound side of the 5 at 170. All lanes remain shut down. This crash with a couple of fatalities. 2 people were killed in this crash involving a couple of cars and a big risk. And the diverted onto 170 south and finished just around 5 a.m. So really backed up. A little bit of good news on the eastbound side of the 210. This is a separate fatal crash. All lanes now open eastbound side of the 210 before Hubbard. Side still busy on the 5 southbound. Down before the 210 all the way back to the Valencia stretch. 14 freeway southbound busy as well. Starting around approximately the Canadian heading towards the 5 freeway. And Caltrain working Bellflower 91 the west side, this is the 605 partially blocked until around 2 o'clock. Slow drive starting around Artesia Boulevard. KFI Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Rabbi.
This report is sponsored by Blindsir.com. Do you need new blinds or shades? Blindsir.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters with free shipping and prices less than big box retailers. And right now, save 50% off any order during Blindsir's President's Day sale. Terms stand February 23rd. Blindsir.com.
Yeah. Visit UKCheetah.org or call 823-422-4255. Also medication to treat COVID-19. Sponsored by the California Department of Public Health. Discover credit cards do something pretty awesome. At the end of your first year, they automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right, everything you've earned doubles. The cash back from trips, restaurants, all double. Seriously, though, see terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/rent. It's the fourth President's Day Telethon. Get great deals this weekend on many in-stock vehicles with more arriving daily. We're also kicking off Ford Truck Month. Get 0.9% APR for 60 months plus $1,004 PR cash on the 2022 F-150 XLT. But hurry in, the Ford President's Day Telethon ends soon. Not all buyers will qualify for Ford Credit 0.9% APR financing for 60 months at 1705 per month for 1,000 finance. Example 0% down. Offer expires 4/3/23. See dealer for details. This President's Day, don't miss 56 Hail to the Cheap sale. Don't you mean Hail to the Cheap, Larry? No, we're one Hail to the Cheap, with over 50% off the best brand. Over 50% off? It's more like a Hail to the Cheap sale, because you're stealing every penny of profit. Clearly, during Basic President's Sale, we're making gifts more affordable. Because if you're good credit, buy today and pay interest-free for 36 months. On purchase of about $3,000 with your minimum monthly payment is 10% down. Plus save $500 on temper adjustable chips and save up to $900 on purple soup systems. Let's just call it the Hail to the Bleak sale. Why Hail to the Bleak? Because these gift sets are going to make me lose my... You're killing me, Larry. So this President's Sale, save over 50% off and stay interest-free for 36 months. During Signature Hail to the Cheap sale. Couldn't people beat anyone's advertised price on your mattress for free? No one has the same taste as you. Damn right. From the music you love to the podcast, you can't live without. And only the iHeartRadio app has it all for free. Download the for all your music, radio, and podcasts. This thing is floating over Alaska. Whenever we do the 60s, I find myself wanting the music to play on. It's just good, feel-good music. Why? That's it. What is the connection? It's just the way music was. I know, but I mean, I just think that's a fascinating look at why you weren't alive. No, but when I would go with my parents to the city, my dad played the oldie station every morning and every afternoon. So it was like I know all of them. And it was probably a nostalgia thing. That's why I remember it, because I think that was the first one. But I wasn't very familiar with all of the music until you play it constantly. It put my dad in a good mood. Yeah, so it's very positive. Right. A couple stories that we are following today. John Lemon absent from CNN this morning after he put his foot in his mouth about saying Nikki Haley wasn't in her prime. Carrie Lake promised to take her loss in the governor's race in Arizona to the Supreme Court in that state. It was fought for a second. second time yesterday, 2 months after it was rejected by different Maricopa County judges.
4 U.S. troops wounded in a helicopter raid that took out an ISIS leader in Syria today. U.S. Central Command says 3 of the soldiers and a working dog are receiving treatment at a medical facility in Iraq. 4th has been released from the hospital. They're part of a special ops force.
There's evidence that xylazine has made its way to the west of. Remember, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. In different areas of Pennsylvania, xylazine has shown up as a street drug. It's used as a large animal sedative.
Is this the Frank stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Public health officials now in San Francisco say that they have found in routine toxicology testing on 145 random people who died from drug overdoses between mid-December and mid-January. 145? That they found 4 people who had traces of Frank, which is xylazine.
Which worked its way into the drug supply.
In San Francisco, which means it's here. So.
Police here in LA are investigating 2 separate shootings of Orthodox Jewish men as hate crimes. First happened Wednesday, man shot in the back when he was leaving a synagogue. Second happened yesterday. Blocked from the first incident, man in his 70s shot in the arm. Both are in stable condition, expected to survive. They say the suspect has a history of hostility towards Jewish people. Terrifying. People are just out there walking around.
Steve Lanuza and 2 others face criminal charges after a holiday party that he hosted caused a rather large uproar, shall we say, in Claremont Police Department.
Yeah, Steve has been on the Claremont Board of Education for 17 years.
This is an interesting story because the Claremont high school choir members were brought in and they performed at this party back on December 3rd. At the party, which he hosted at his home, students were exposed to scantily clad male dancers dressed as elves and a dirty Santa.
Some of the kids were offered alcohol as well. The investigation by Claremont police led to the arrest of Blake Taylor White.
You know Blake, don't you?
He's known as Buddy the Elf.
Yes, he is. He faces 4 counts of annoying or molesting a child, 2 counts of lewd and lascivious acts of a minor aged 14 or 15.
I gotta get
You gotta get eyes on this
I gotta get eyes on this guy.
Now, meanwhile, again, the former Claremont Board of Education President Steve Lanuza facing charges of contributing to the delinquency of a minor, 1 count of providing alcoholic beverages to a minor under 21.
Everything that comes up is Blake Taylor's jersey in white.
Another suspect, a 51-year-old Claremont resident, Candy Robinson, faces a count of providing is still on administrative leave from his job there as they figure all of this out. He's listed as a teacher for Smith Tech Academy in Bloomington.
How come every time I've been over at your house for holiday events, there are never scantily clad male dancers dressed as elves? I think your wife would enjoy that as well.
You don't stick around. You are often the first to leave the party because you don't think it's cool enough.
What?
No. But if you had stuck around...
Well, like Super Bowl Sunday, I didn't stick around for what I learned with you and your wife role-playing.
What was it?
Well, Steve, Gregory, and Jacob left their sunglasses at your place. So, the 2 of you engaged in some role-playing.
You played the role of Steve, and I played the role of Jacob.
Yeah.
And he said to me something along the lines of jump in for an interview.
We are on assignment.
Now remember, this is a secret assignment.
And remember, don't ask stupid questions like those TV reporters. Can Steve come on the air once without taking a shot at TV reporters?
I hope not.
We have a lot of TV reporters in our gas family. From Channel 4, Channel 5, 2 and 9, a lot of family members.
11, nobody 11.
And I just wish that we would be more respectful.
7, nobody 7
of our people.
Friends all over.
Oh, we do have friends at 7 as well.
Yes, we do.
It's delightful. They don't have the hate that Steve Gregory has in his heart. You know, they're smiling. They have great attitude. They're beautiful. They dress well. What's not to like?
Yeah. It's nice to get a quote.
He's such a jealous, spoiled sport, isn't he?
Clear that we don't even it. I am standing by. SpaceX is targeting a 11 12. So 16 minutes from now. The Falcon 9 launch 51 Starlink satellites to low Earth orbit from Space Launch Complex 4E at Vandenberg. Did I tell you who our hero is going to be in Space Wars? I feel like you did tell me and I've forgotten. ViralRabbi. Oh, you poo-pooing this is your worst financial decision you've ever made. Because this thing is a money maker. Can I invite you to buy some crypto while you're at it? Coming back, swamp walk, all of what's going on in Washington, D.C. when we come back to Jeremy. I've got it covered. KOST, HD2. Los Angeles, all time. Live everywhere on the Radio app. Arrested on Dr. Mark live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Police have arrested men accused of shooting two Jewish men in the Pico Robertson area of L.A. Both men were shot leaving synagogues. One man was shot Wednesday morning and the other shooting happened yesterday. This one. I was sitting on my couch and I heard like 3 gunshots and I was like, I thought maybe it was a firework, but then I knew it was actually guns when the police came. The Jewish Federation of Greater LA says it was informed the man behind the shooting had a history of hostility towards Jewish people. The shooter was traced to Riverside County where he was arrested. Police recovered a rifle and a pistol in the Pico Robertson area of LA. Blake Trolley, KFI News. 2 people have been killed in a fiery crash on the southbound 5 in Sun Valley. The CHP says the fire broke out this morning when a big rig hit a stalled white van. Caltrans for 5 lanes on 5 are closed. Aerial footage shows long lines of gridlock traffic. The drivers have been diverted to the 170. 3 people in South LA have been hurt in the crash that happened during a short police chase. Police were after a truck last night that had been reported stolen when the driver slammed into a car at Santee Grove Street and Gage Avenue. Police lasted just over a minute. The driver of the truck tried to run away, but the car is the driver and 5 others were served booze at Collegial on November 13, 2021. Soon after, the 18-year-old driver crashed, killing one of the passengers and injuring everyone else. Now, it's 180 days indefinite to allow for a transfer to a different home. Scott Wells with the state's alcoholic beverage control says the underage drinkers range in ages from 16 to 19 years old. Gregory KFI News. Investigators department did not specify how the man is related because he is wanted on suspicion of murder. The 3 family members were found shot to death in their home over 2 weeks ago. The family says they are devastated by the loss they are suffering. A motorcycle gang leader who executed 3 people in Westminster 40 years ago is getting compassionate release. Orange County DA Todd Spitzer says Thespian Motorcycle Club co-founder Thomas Maniscalco has terminal cancer diagnosis. When you commit murder, you can die in prison of whatever happens, either illness, old age, or whatever. You have no right to be returned back to the community. In this case, you've been denied parole twice. Cargo shipping has decreased at the Port of LA. Movement in the port was at a record high in 2022, but this year it has slowed down. Port of LA Executive Director Dean Soroka says there are several reasons why the containers aren't getting loaded. First, the Lunar New Year. Many facilities have extended closures to serve in the second half of the year because of the holidays. Chris Adler, KFI News, Forest Service members in the U.S. have been homicide forces. The U.S. service members and working dogs, who are also members of the U.S. Special Operations Forces, all receiving treatment in a U.S. medical facility in Iraq. ABC gun linked with the raid in northeastern Syria killed ISIS leader Hamza al-Hamdi. The U.S. military has killed 2 other ISIS leaders in Syria over the past 2 years. The Universal Studios Super Nintendo World is officially open to the public. The immersive theme park attraction allows visitors to act like they are part of a Mario video game when they buy a power band for $40. The KFI Financial Report is sponsored by SaddlebackEye.com. The Dow is down 10, S&P 500 down 29, NASDAQ is down 139, and the average price for a gallon of regular gas in California is $4.71. For a limited time, get up to $1,800 off LASIK from SaddlebackEye.com. Southline weather from KFI, partly cloudy, highs mid-60s to around 70 for Metro LA, the San Gabriel and San Fernando Valley, 50s for the Antelope Valley, upper 60s to around 70 for Inlet Orange County, lows to upper 60s in the Inland Empire. Right now, 61 in Orange, it's 64 Buena Park, 54 in Florida Hills, and it's 59 in From the southern
California Toyota dealer traffic center. Let's go places. We're going to a crash on the 91 in Riverside. On the 91 eastbound, right before you get to Dam Zero, and it's a two-car wreck. This happened. The left lane is blocked. It's already checked up from Pierce Street. And I'm hearing it from that left lane over to the right shoulder. We still have that trouble in Sun Valley. This is on the farm southbound between 170 and Sheldon Street. That crash has all lanes blocked. It is south on the Team Parkway. Also, the 14 southbound is going to be really slow between Newhall Avenue down to the 5. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm getting on it. I heard Hollywood Spotlight. The campaign continues for Oscar-nominated and many are front and center at the Santa Barbara International Film Festival. Kate Blanchett accepted the Outstanding Performer of the Year award for her role in Tar. Angela Bassett was honored with the Montecito Award for her long and illustrious career, calling it a full circle moment. Meanwhile, Gold movie expert Tom O'Neill expects the box office hit will win the top prize at the Oscars. Cooper Popman Maverick will win Best Picture and Steven Spielberg will win Best Director for The Fablemans, Legacy of Our Memories, and Season of Directors. Voting closes for the DGA at the DGA Awards on February 17th. As for the small screen, the TV Academy announced the official date for the 75th Annual Emmy Awards. The ceremony will return to the Monday night lineup when it airs live on September 18th on Fox. I'm Alan Kay. This is iHeart Hollywood Spotlight. Without the ones like you, over tireless 86 things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Granger, we're here for you with professional grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call clickgranger.com and get that line. Granger, for the one who get it done. Hi, this is Joe Cordell at the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years. Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's California attorneys. 1455 Frazee Road, Suite 500, San Diego, California, 92108. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. At Carl Chevrolet, Costa Mesa, we're offering President's Day savings all month long at CarlChevrolet.com. Hey, hi, more stimulating talk. And I have radio stations. Wow! I feel good. I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the video app. Coming up later this hour, we are going to get into Microsoft's AI problem. Their AI bot Bing supposed to herald a new age in Texas, left Google scrambling about it. We've got a bot on our way too. Use this place. But a bunch of journalists have gotten early access to Bing, and they discovered that the bot seems to have a bizarre, dark, and combative alter ego. I mean, what could go wrong, Megan? The fact that people are super excited about this stuff is not. I am not. Good. I have, until today, tried to be like hands off, like nothing to see here, move along, but it's something that we cannot ignore, especially when we start behaving badly. I think the New York Times writer who was interacting with it and asking it questions, the Microsoft version of it kept saying things like, well, you're not happily married. And the guy was like, yeah, I've been married for 25 years. But your wife doesn't love you because your wife doesn't know you, because your wife doesn't care about you. Oh, God. What kind of algorithm, what disgruntled Microsoft worker wrote that is not a worker? It's the AI. Oh, but the AI is making adjustment. And what is it about him that's so unlovable? Right. 11 o'clock, we dive into Washington. Washington. The government doesn't work. Oh, man. Reality TV. Corn pop like a bad dude. Always related to where Washington. Hey, Joe. Hey, all too clearly built on a swamp. So many ways, still
Yes, you know, it is possible that the object shot down by American forces over the Yukon last weekend was a balloon from an amateur balloon group out of northern Illinois. This was the balloon that the F-22 shot down, that the balloon has gone missing in action, the group says, around the same time this thing was shot down. We're talking about the Northern Illinois Bottle Camp Balloon Brigade, and it was a $12 balloon that the fighter jet sent that $400,000 missile into. This balloon thing stems out of the ham radio culture where they just keep track of it. That's all they do. They're not watching anything. There's no nefarious. They're not even dropping water balloons on people. They're just launching these things into the air, 40, 50,000 feet up, and watching them traverse the globe. In this case, the balloon that they're talking about, they do them every once in a while on their blog page, nipbb.org. You can find everything you need to know about the Northern Illinois Bottle Camp Balloon Brigade. And it's funny because we said that I was joking that it was going to be an 8th grade science experiment that was shot down. This isn't that far off from that. The balloon that they said that they believe may have been the one that was shot down over the Yukon had traversed the globe, went around the globe, I think 7 times before they lost. What a dirty $12 balloon. It's pretty amazing. When you think about it, it's a pretty amazing thing. And the fact that it stays up there that long, and it probably takes, 2 weeks or whatever to go around the world, it's pretty incredible. It's slightly embarrassing now. Slightly. Like $400,000 to take that thing down when we knew that the first balloon came from China and we just let it set sail. We just let it continue to surveil whatever it was able to collect. While we acted willy-nilly and shot these other 3 down post-haste, not even getting any information about what they were. Why would we spend that kind of money and that kind of unrest? You know, a lot of people saw us shooting down 4 things in 8 days and was like, what the hell is this? We're getting a little trigger happy. What's going on here? And down in the west. It's usually not that much activity for our fighter jets. And by the way, it's not an analog to say, well, you didn't have a problem when we shot the Chinese spy balloon down. Why do you have a problem when we shoot these down? We watched this Chinese spy balloon, if you believe the State Department, and I do, we watched it take off. We watched this thing the entire time it was making its way across the Pacific, into the Aleutian Islands, over Canada, into the United States. Those were many opportunities to shoot this thing down before it had an opportunity to traverse the United States. Then we start getting a little antsy, adjust the controls on our radar, and start picking up every flock of birds in the 8th grade science fair in Northern Illinois. What do they call them? The Northern Illinois Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade. Kamala Harris is in the unit, by the way. She's there as part of the security conference. Ukraine is obviously the big topic there, but they did discuss the balloon. The way she speaks in English reminds me of the way I speak when I'm trying to speak Spanish. It sounds like someone told ChatGPT, talk about the balloon, but be as politically correct and slightly vague as you possibly can. We will maintain the perspective that we have in terms of what should be the relationship between China and the United States. That is not going to change, but slowly and certainly that balloon was not helpful. This is why we shot it down. No, it's not that it was. Too many words. That's the problem. Too many words. You know, when she says that, it reminds me, there is a comment, there is a phrase that President Biden has been using lately that I think is a good one to rely on, which is, we will compete with China, but we don't want conflict with China. Yeah, that would have been a better way to say that. And she could have said, this lends itself to conflict more than competition, and that's why we brought it. When you don't speak in a human way, it sounds like you're obfuscating. It sounds like you're trying to lie and be clever in doing so. And that's not a good look for a politician to have, and she routinely does this. All right, coming back. A little bit more about some of these Republicans who lost their elections, are now trying to run again, and Republicans trying to figure out what to do about it. Well, your chance at $1,000. Oh, and Heather wrote to us, Gary, my parents never came to see my daughter and I in our musical theater productions either. It makes me so sad. We even had some significant roles. Well, you say, do you want me to use it? No, you're good. There you go. We'll continue in just a moment. Deborah Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Tesla CEO Elon Musk said the recall of more than 360,000 Teslas is anachronistic and just flat wrong. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said yesterday recalled because its full self-driving system might cause the speed limit. The Munich Security Conference leaders are talking about the next step. It's Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and there's its 20-year anniversary. India, oh yeah, the 405 can be upsetting too, but you know what else is upsetting? Water damage, broken pipe, toilet overflow. But you got this, you pay your insurance. You open up a claim with your homeowner's insurance company, and you find out that they suck. They're just trying to pay you so little, you're not going to be able to repair the damage. You feel hopeless, but you know what, you're not. Call Abner Gatt. Abner Gatt is looking out for you. He will be a problem solver. Abner Gatt is a public insurance adjuster who's on your side. You don't want to try and negotiate with those terrible people. Abner Gatt's insurance company for many years, this is all they do. They got the experience and the industry know-how you need on your side. They're also rated 5 stars on Yelp, Google, and Better Business Bureau. No one messes around with Abner Gatt and his team. Give Abner a call, 818-917-5256. 818-917-5256 or visit AbnerGat.com. It's ABNERGAT, AbnerGat.com. Or call him directly. He'll be the one picking up the phone. 818-917-5256. We're going to a class on the 405 in Truman Oaks. Looks like Truman Way now. In front of our southbound between the 170 and Sheldon Street, our earlier trouble has cleared. All lanes have been reopened, but you're still going to see a slow line coming away from the City Parkway. Faster, I'm Jimmy Harmon. Are you a business owner, CEO, or responsible for marketing? If you are, I heard you need more cost-effective business across radio, digital, podcasting, and social. We'd love to figure out iHeartMedia can work for you. From your cell dial pound 250 and say keyword great results. That's pound 250 and say great results. Seriously, my skills is just the penetration. We all know how easy it can be to go to the wrong place for transmission repair. Made up of over 800 pieces, the transmission is the most complex part of your car. So bring it to the transmission experts at AMCO. AMCO, always the right fix. AA, MCO. Special financing available. Restrictions, limitations, and exclusions may apply. See AMCO.com for complete details. Yeah, visit UKData.org or call 833-422-4255. Once you better face your street COVID-19. Brought by the California Department of Public Health. Team Sharp, California just changed the laws for solar, and sadly, it means new solar customers will get 75% less compensation. The good news is you can lock in the great rates of the current system, but you need to have your solar documents filed by April 14th, which means now is the time to call Sunlux. If you're even thinking about solar, call Sunlux and get your solar documents filed. There is no time to wait. Start today at sunlux.com, sunlux.com. ESLB 1008274. This is Nick Alexander from Alexander BMW. We're the only BMW dealer in SoCal to offer free flatbed pickup and delivery on all your factory scheduled maintenance. Schedule your appointment today. Call 800-800-NICK. And remember, Nick can't say no on the Exorcist Files podcast. Something to Exorcist and demonology. Sharing stories of disturbing and freakish cases of possession. For the last 2 decades, Father Carlos Martin has encountered people in nearly every way imaginable. When Hollywood portrayed in The Exorcist with levitation, vomiting, sitting at the tree, all of that has not been a movie for me. I have seen that firsthand. Listen to The Exorcist Files on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcast. Parents are rethinking the sleepover. They say it's an opportunity for the kids to get disease or full read. I recall ever. What are you doing this weekend? We have a view for King Highway Junior Show. Yeah, come on over. That's my to get vote on Maple Soup Chicken Wings live 4 to 7 p.m. on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. Everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. You ever have one of those exes that is still obsessed with you because they hate you so much? I haven't, but Gavin Newsom does. Oh my gosh, that back and forth. It's so good. It's so good. Move on. If you haven't seen the picture of Gavin Newsom and Kimberly Guilfoyle laid out over that carpet in San Francisco, it's worth a Google. He refers to it as a joke. Yeah, my ass. Don't, don't take it. Don't take the picture. Say it was a bad moment of judgment, of laughing around. A lot more of myself than I turned out to be. Big weekend coming up for Mondo next week. It's the 20th annual Guacamole Bowl, the law enforcement challenge in San Diego, down at the Balboa Park Club. $8 admission pays membership fees, gets you a bag of missing tortilla chips and all the guacamole you can eat, and you can also vote for your favorite one. What's the finalist? I.e. Mondo. Now, the last time you went to this one, you didn't win, despite all the blue ribbons you have from LA County and the like, because you took Oscar with him. And Oscar screwed everything up. There's something with the line. Yeah. I mean, think about it. When we went to Philadelphia, Oscar was with us, and it rained. Yeah. He's such a dark cloud. You couldn't even get into the iHeart party. Oscar was with us. Yeah, and we worked for iHeart. Yeah, but not this guy. I mean, we got a chance for you to win $1,000. You gotta pick it up. Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter the nationwide keywords on our website. Pay. That's pay, P-A-Y. Enter it now at KFIAF640.com/app. Powered by Sweet Attorney. If you're ever in an accident, winning is everything. Call the winning attorneys at Sweet Games. 800-500-5200. That's 800-500-5200 or sweetgames.com. Make sure you enter that keyword on the website, KFIAM640.com. The #task. This one. That's okay. It's Friday. Tag. Yeah. And then keep an eye on the email. That's how they notify the winners. U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg has been absent from the East Palestine train derailment fiasco. He was not at that town hall meeting. The train company, Norfolk Southern, was not at that town hall meeting to answer questions. Glaring absences that left the people there very unhappy. One resident can be heard asking the mayor in video footage, "Where's Pete Buttigieg? Where's he at?" The answer, by the way, is that the mayor of East Palestine, Trent Conaway, because I have no idea. Yesterday was the first time I heard anything from the White House. That is embarrassing. Yeah. It should be an embarrassment to the administration if they have not been in contact with the local authorities. Now, I know that the president did reach out to Governor Mike DeWine, according to Governor DeWine, and at this point we believe that they have offered about any assistance that would be needed, but Governor DeWine is calling back. So, the Wednesday night town hall meeting was attended by thousands of people. And it is a smaller portion of, it's a rural area for the most part, where the accident took place, but the impact. A way to go today. We talked a lot. In fact, we talked yesterday or the day before for Democrats to put up in 2024. Nobody wants to come forward and say out loud that maybe he's not the best candidate because they don't want to go against the president, and they don't want to sound ageist either. You don't want to sound ageist. They want to pretend that he's really the best candidate that they have. I don't think he is. But that's their thing to figure out. Within the party, they've got to figure out what to do. The timing of any sort of pulling back from that is important because you're going to need some lead time for other candidates to get in, although I'm sure there's a handful of them who have break glass in case Biden doesn't run type situation going on. House and Senate Republicans also believe that a bunch of bad candidates cost them seats when it came to the midterm elections. Going into it, there was a good chance, at least a couple of months out, there was a good chance the Republicans were going to pick up the seats in the Senate that they were expecting. So the question they have now in the Republican Party that's going to sort of sizzle their engine in the next couple of months is how do we convince these bad candidates to not run again? Now, the highest profile bad candidate to get back into a race like that, but it is interesting because now we have this other story that came out of Arizona that Harry Lake, who ran for governor.
Well, the House reportedly is going to be looking into George Santos' marriage. Yeah, he's married for 7 years to a Brazilian woman, and now they think it was just a scheme to get her into the country, an immigration bid. That would check out. It's not even shocking to me anymore. Nothing that you can say about him would be shocking. Apparently, he huddled inside his district office as constituents attempted to deliver a petition calling for his resignation. He hid from the group. He sent a staffer to talk to the group. It said it was an angry mob of people chanting. They had more than 1,000 signatures.
An angry mob in Queens is, but it was
It's just a group of people.
20 people.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it.
I was grateful here in California in the state legislature regarding teaching financial literacy to students.
I love it.
I do too. I saw a meme recently that says, you know, something to the effect of happy for parallelogram season. I'm so glad we spent 6 months in high school learning geometry instead of learning how to do our taxes.
Well, I love the fact that they've done financial literacy classes for high school kids, and they're
textbook, and the fact that their first job may be $20,000 a year, but that's not the money you get. You get about $10,000.
Exactly.
So that was a real shocker.
Wow. My kids, I set out a quarter for every $1,000 of my salary. I put a quarter on the table. So there's a bunch of quarters on the table, and I said, okay, so this is what I get paid. And then I took my arm and I took about half of it, and that's what we pay in taxes.
Right.
And then this is what I pay every month for the mortgage. And this much goes towards the phone bill and the electricity bill and the gas bill and the water bill that goes to the HOA. That's all of it.
Right.
So I said, remember that big pile of quarters we had at the top? Thinking of what it is that you're doing.
But you hear your parents bitching about taxes, you have no idea what that really means. Because it's also like this, la 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 la. Well, the parents are trying to talk to you about finances. So, I mean, if it's a course, why not have the redundancy? Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Wonderful. Kimberly Guilfoyle and Gavin Newsom.
This is why you don't date crazy kids, because sometimes crazy doesn't go away.
Especially if you're high profile crazy and getting higher profile crazy. Ooh.
Also, the Jeopardy question on the other side has produced a toxic oil that may have killed tens of thousands of embryos worldwide. Lawyer Adam Wolf of the Recall Notice and Film Irvine Scientific claims there are no known reports of death or serious injury.
Our clients reached out about their embryos that perished. Many other couples and individuals around the country and around the world who had their embryos killed due to contact with the toxic oil have come forward.
The lawsuit filed yesterday claims negligence, design defect, manufacturer's defect, and failing to warn for not immediately making the recall notice public. Film Irvine Scientific says its oil has received a small number of complaints and the company will respond to legal claims during the legal process. The family of a 13-year-old boy with autism has called for a state investigation into a state memorial to the boy of school in South LA. The display set up at Bethune Middle School last week included messages that read, "Rest in peace, Damari Baker," and shot and killed by gang members in South LA.
I got a call from the school telling me to be here because my child's life is they have fear for his safety.
Boy's mom says his son does not understand why anyone would do such a thing. Family members say they're not sure if a student or staff member created the fake memorial, but they say someone should be held accountable. A hiker from Colorado has survived a 200-foot fall in the San Gabriel Mountains. Ruth Warnke was camping with her family in December when she set off to climb Chickamauga Peak. She said she reached the 8,800-foot summit but slipped on some ice on her way down and fell about 200 feet. because the falling tree trunk stopped her. Four hikers eventually found her and called for help.
I was holding my head as I walked along the side of the mountain until they were able to drop the people, and then myself and the rescuer went up together in one shot.
She had torn ligaments and tendons in her legs, gashes on her head, chin, and face that needed more than 40 stitches, and she needed surgery for a broken neck. Democratic Senator John Fetterman has checked himself into Walter Reed National Military Medical Center to be treated for clinical depression. His chief of staff says while John has experienced depression off and on throughout his life, it only became severe in recent weeks. ABC's Andrea CGV says Fetterman's office as the senator continues to struggle with the after effects of the stroke he had last May. Last week, Fetterman spent 2 days at George Washington University Hospital after becoming lightheaded. Southland weather from KFI, partly cloudy, highs mid-60s to around 70 for metro LA, the San Gabriel and San Fernando Valley, 50s in the Antelope Valley, upper 60s to around 70 for inland Orange County, low to upper 60s in the Inland Empire. Right now, 64 in Cypress and it's 62 in Brea. We have a crash on the 14 in Newhall. It's on 14 southbound right before you get to the 5. Pretty tough crash. Got a car and a motorcycle down the carpool and the left two-lane block. It is stopping away from Newhall Avenue. And on the 5 south, right at the 14 stalled down in the lane. In Sherman Oaks on the 405 southbound before you get to Mulholland Circle Center Drive. So back at left in the second lane from your motorcycle down here. It is going to stop coming away from Nordoff. In South El Monte, 605 south at Valley Boulevard, that left clear to the right shoulder. And if you Rivera, 605 north at Washington, heads up, going toward Upper Masters. Faster, I'm Jimmy Harmon.
When you want the best deal on the best meal, choose Lenny's 2 for $6. Pick from Dave's Single, spicy chicken sandwich, 10-piece crispy nuggets, or a medium strawberry lemonade. Pair any two for just $6. Choose wisely. Choose Lenny's 2 for $6.
Philly Pictures Classic is proud to present the 15th return of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, starring Michelle Yeoh, now in sunny 4K restoration. Magical, romantic, empowering, a masterpiece. See the jaw-dropping storyline, the incredible action above its compelling, and the astonishing gravity-defying stunts, all on the 16th for a limited time. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, directed by Ellen Reed in PG-13, now playing. Injured in an accident? Visit superwomansuperwoman.com.
KFI AM 640.
Round, round, get around, I get around, get around, we're like that tall underneath City Hall East. Used to be a Sbarro there, no longer. Used to be a, I don't know, is it Euro or Gyro?
The Bureau here.
Is it still there? Used to be a tea store down there.
Now it's where the zombie apocalypse will originate.
Probably. It's a smell down there that's just keeping me in the summer.
I wondered why. We do trending stories at the top of the hour at 12 o'clock. We'll get into some stuff. In fact, Mike Foley's going to join us because to talk about the man who arrested for a couple of shootings outside a synagogue. We've got some of that information coming up. Also, Jason Nathan's going to join us next hour. Talk about the new Ant-Man movie. Paul Rudd apparently is getting a lot of kudos for his body, which is past the time.
Paul Rudd is one of those guys that does not age. I was reading an interview that he did recently where he's talking about his kid going to do a movie theater and saw a poster of his dad in the movie theater. Didn't really know what his dad did. So thought for years that he worked at the movie theater.
Did you see them at the Super Bowl?
Yes. I love that interview where the son's like, he's not like 15 or whatever. I'm just glad that I'm alive to see Patrick Mahomes. Thank you for existing. It was so cute. It was like, and in the video, Paul Rudd just as excited and like jittery as his son having won. He looked
like that standing with their arms crossed.
Oh my God, it's great.
It looks like, by the way, one of the major issues that hit traffic this morning in the San Fernando Valley has been alleviated. This crash that was reported just after 5 at the 170 and I passed, but it looks like the freeway is open for certain. It was a today. Gavin Newsom, for a long time, well, how many, look at that person, you can have all the girlfriends you want, that's fine. He was at one point married to Kimberly Guilfoyle, who is now, I believe, currently engaged to Donald Trump Jr. So you think to yourself, how do you go from Gavin Newsom of all people? Gavin Newsom was recent Fox culture when he started working there. So to be doing is to make fun of him for the picture. You remember the being on the floor of this incredibly extravagant room? How self-realization, the stupidity. It was a mock photo. There were two photos. I'm not talking about the photo. I'm talking about the life. That's what the photo is. Even more humiliating. It was on the floor. I mean, it was a kind of a gag thing. But yeah, he put it in and Joe Hayes was that picture. Right. That was up the idea that, just, I didn't want to be known as the new candidate or anything like that. I realized that, it'd be fun to take a picture with while lying on the floor. In his home, it looks like it's maybe Pacific Heights. It was on Ann Getty's rug in San Francisco, 2004, and it was a Harper's Bazaar photo shoot. Of course it was taken on purpose. Have you opened a Harper's Bazaar? I haven't since the 80s, but this is exactly the kind of fair that is in there. And they do not look like it's a joke. It's 100% real. David Axelrod kind of doubled down on it, and like you heard him say, I'm not talking about the picture. David, after I lived in there, he moved to New York for Cook TV, and then eventually with Ale to Fox. But I got to know all those guys. With Spy and Kennedy, all those guys. And I started to understand the performative nature of all this stuff. See, what appeals to her? Well, not even performative nature. Her own pride, and she's got a prosecutorial mindset. She always had that. She's with. She's got a prosecutorial mindset. She always had that. She's with. And she felt played. I think the coach for the Fox, and you do play, so you disagree with that. Anyway, the issue of this guy throwing shade, it's just say, I don't want to talk about it, all right? Because I think, listen, or joke about it. He is so serious about himself. He cannot take himself lightly. You have to be able to make fun of yourself. Right. You have to be like, oh my gosh, I know, wasn't that ridiculous? That drug was worse than Trump's drug at Mar-a-Lago. You know what I mean? You have something, make light of it. Just make light of it. He sounds pissed off that he's being asked about it. He sounds combative. It's a stupid guy. It was stupid. We were young. We got caught up in it. The new Kennedys. I mean, how cool is that when you're that young to be called the new Kennedys? And you know what? We're two different people. We grew apart. And he's so pissed off and on his heels that it comes across like he's just takes himself too damn seriously. It comes across like he's just takes himself too damn seriously. One issue that the testimony that the first partner, Jennifer Newsom, gave in the Harvey Weinstein trial. Gavin Newsom said he never knew anything about that in that interview. Said it was a crime to him that his wife was allegedly sexually assaulted by Harvey Weinstein. So that makes it easier to swallow the fact that he took money from Harvey Weinstein and went to different events, politically advantageous events arranged by Harvey Weinstein. That is so convenient, isn't it, that he has no idea. Baloney. Now, Kimberly Guilfoyle, Gavin Newsom had said that she had lost her way. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, says that you fell prey to culture at Fox News. What is your response? When you read that, were you like, are you kidding me? I got this story sent to me about like 57 times last night, and all the reporters reaching out to me for comments, but I'm giving it to you, Charlie. Okay? This is absurd. You know me a long time. Have you ever seen me to be someone that is led by others, like in some cult mentality, that I was like, oh, I fell prey to the culture at Fox? No. I have been a Republican, 18 in UC Davis, which has gone a little crazy, and a member of the Republican Party there. Okay? And they're matching up with a woman that righted and to the right as I am. Human nature. I didn't change. Listen, I think it's one of the most disgusting things that he's going to run for president, because that's what he's always wanted to do, and he's always talked about it. So that's why he's convinced he will run this election cycle. He will run this election cycle. But the loud louder those two go after each other, the more entertaining it is. It's entertaining, but they look stupid. Move on. Am I wrong? My gut reaction to him going after an ex-wife like this in a public way, as opposed to telling David Axelrod, or take my tactic of just saying, we were very young. We grew up partly became current white, but the Democrats love that edge. They love the fact of anyone going after Fox News. They love it. They eat it up with a spoon or rag on Fox News. So that's what he's doing as well. He's just rag on Fox News. So that's what he's doing as well. Is it disrespectful to your current wife to do that, to talk about your ex-wife in a public forum like that? I think it's disrespectful that he clearly has so much anger, i.e. passion behind him when he talks about her. Like, why is she worth with your breath? That would be my question if I was his current wife. Why is she worth it? Why is she worth your time? Well, I don't know if disrespectful is the right word, but I'd be like, who cares? Yeah, I am surprised he did. And when we saw those quotes, I was surprised that he even allowed the question, allowed it to continue to go on. Because David Axelrod's got to know, he's a high enough profile player in the Democrat Party. He's got to know that he's going to pick off the acquisition system. Like, you're hitting on a touchy subject here, and you're going to get that loud, defensive. Well, that's exactly what you want. You want him to dance monkey dance, right? I mean, that's what you want. You want him to get uncomfortable. You want him to be entertaining with better TV. But Gavin Newsom's got to know you can't take the bait on that because you sound like a petulant child. And going into whatever run, if there is a like, no, just go. I got those results from College One past where we were dumbasses. The chat GPT infused AI is not, and it will come for you. And no one loves you. We'll talk about this weird chat behavior that this thing is taking on. Reporters do not like you. Gary and Shannon will continue in just a moment. Deborah Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. A person has been arrested for a series of shootings that left 6 people dead in Tate County, Mississippi. The sheriff says all the shootings happened within the same community. Police in Culver City say a man tried to get out some boys in their windows, postal dance, and the license plate that said the van was driven by a guy with messy hair who was wearing a pink top. Gas prices in LA and Orange County could hit their highest level since early December. The average for a gallon of regular in LA County is $4.78. In Orange County is $4.74. Prices inland are a little lower. We're going to go to the 170 next. If you're ever injured in an accident, whether it's a car, truck accident, motorcycle accident, maybe even a dog fight, call a firm that could help improve your accident victims for 18 years and more. We're talking about Pete James accident attorneys, and the best part is every time they settle a case, they donate meals to those in need. Yeah, they fed almost 80,000 people in the last year. And most people don't know what to do when they're in an accident. You may not be able to use your car, the injury may not allow you to go to work, or take the money, and the PeteJames.com. Bill, in fact, 170 Boulevard, 2-car crash. They just emptied the shoulder, but it's still going to see some delays from District down to the 101. They in Sherman Oaks on the 405 southbound Ragged Mulholland Drive. That earlier crash in Utah, 14 southbound before the pod. Still got that wreck blocking the car full in 2 left lanes. 87 from Blackberry to Canyon Road. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jenny Harmon. This report is sponsored by Duffy Power Services. Duffy Power Services, family owned for nearly 60 years, is LA's generator expert for all your generator needs. Commercial and industrial, including maintenance, rentals, purchase, and installation. For the largest fleet of generator rentals in Southern California, go to DuffyPower.com. That's DuffyPower.com. The Ford President's Day Celadon is happening now at your Ford dealer. Pick up the 2022 Explorer. It's America's all-time best-selling SUV with 0% APR plus 1,000 trade-in cash. But hurry in, the Ford President is 2 for $6. Pick from Dave's Single, spicy chicken sandwich, 10-piece crispy Netflix butt, 2 luxury, 2 blended, 2 for $6. This President's Day, don't miss 50% payout to the Kick sale. Don't you mean hail to the Kick, right? No, or one hail to the Kick. With over 50% off the best brand. Over 50% off? It's more like a hail to the Kick sale. President's sale will make it more affordable. Because with your good credit, buy today and pay interest-free for 36 months. On purchase of about $3,000 with your minimum monthly payment is 10% down. Plus save $500 on terror adjustable. Let's just call it the Hail to the Fleet Sale. Larry! on your household favorites for lower than low prices? It feels like winning. Shop now in store or online. Ralph, save more and earn rewards too. Use your digital coupons up to 5 times, plus earn double gaming rewards points on participating items. Restrictions apply. Of course, your favorite station is on the free iHeartRadio app. Take it with you anywhere and listen anytime. Plus, get thousands of other stations. Just south of Memphis, one of the shootings happened at a local store. 4 other victims were found at a home, 2 inside, 2 outside. On February 5th. Words enough to create a sexual assault? No. But resurface next season and you kind of forget, what was that again? My word and move or something, and you move on. But there will be some settlements to go to that point. If it's determined that he has a case, I think if he settles, he's not going back to the network though. He's ruins his career. Lawyer? How about Jeopardy? Yeah. This is a tough one. Unusual living animals for 12 very long snouts has 2 sets of jaws and teeth. No. 2 sets of jaws and teeth. Oh, well, I got it wrong in the first place. What is the moray eel? Oh, okay. You knew it was? Cousins of this one. Ah, I wrote it right. Yeah.